what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome in Baseball and Coffee 9:01. Had to make my coffee just now. I will be doing this for about an hour and 40 today. Got to go work out at a workout class because the old bones got to get moving a little bit. That's at 11 o'clock my time. So that's why I moved everything up today. Got to move around a little bit. Body's feeling terrible. So, thanks for hanging with me. We'll do a number of different things today. We had some good offensive performances, some good pitching performances, some things maybe to investigate. I know in my Discord, talking a little draft stuff last night. So I definitely want to watch, the projected #1 pick, Roch Cholowsky a little bit, which I have the capability of doing, so we might as well do it. Hope everybody is great. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Junior. Good morning, RES. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, DK Ghost. Good morning, everybody. Victoria. All right, let's hit our standings first. Let's see where we're at, and then we'll get into this day a little bit and see what we want to watch. Hope everybody's great. All right, American League East, Yankees 8-3. They dropped the final game. In fact, not the final game, but they dropped yesterday's game to the A's 3-2. Orioles 6-6. Rays and Jays are 5-7. Sox, who have now won 2 in a row, are up to 4-8. They finally won a series, and now they go to St. Louis, which will be interesting next. In the Central, Cleveland 8-5. Twins 6-6. Royals 5-7. Tigers and White Sox are 4-8. In the West, Rangers 7-5, Angels and Astros 6-7, A's 4-7, and the Mariners are very, very disappointing 4-9 and have lost 5 in a row. I don't know what's going on there. I haven't really been paying much attention yet. Braves 8-5, Miami 7-5, Mets 7-5, Phillies 6-6, Nats 4-8. This division's been surprisingly very competitive so far, the Central. I mean, we knew they had some teams, but top to bottom, the worst team's 500 in the Cubs. Reds 8-4, Brewers 8-4, Pirates and Cardinals are both 7-5. West, Dodgers 9-3. They do not sweep the Jays. They lose that last game. And then we have 3 teams at 500, including the Rockies, who swept the Astros at Coors. So good to see the Rockies at 500, and the Giants are at 5-8. All right. Into the chat here for a minute. Are you more concerned about Peterson or Manaea? I'm not horribly concerned about either yet. Sean's velocity hasn't really come back up at all. I checked it last night. I know he pitched 4 innings in relief. So I'm not sure how they're evaluating him. There's a lot of things he's doing that do look good, but I didn't watch yesterday's outing much. Petey got in a little bit of trouble with contact. This is sort of the way it goes with him. When he's good, he's going to get quick outs. And when he's not good, he's going to give up some hits, which is kind of what happened in that second inning there yesterday. He, everything happens in baseball in a sequence. We always talk about that. Things that matter that are non-home run related, at least, are mostly in a sequence. So who'd they play yesterday? Mets and, goodness gracious, Diamondbacks. The first run scores on a sequence of events, right? So it's double. And, he's not out here striking out a million guys. So I'm not really, concerned about David. I don't think he has his best stuff right now. But it wasn't horrible yesterday either. He just kind of got beat from when I was watching. This is a bunt single here. It's just a perfect bunt. So nothing you can do for that. That's just great. That's a great job. And then they score on a sac fly. So that's the first run. So I don't really think it was anything bad there. It's just got to credit the Diamondbacks a little bit. Corbin Carroll left on left double. Bunt hit, sac fly, that's producing a run. And then in the second inning, let's see the hits here. Pulled grounder through the hole.
And Vargas has a lead off. 3-2, nobody out. Vargas not running, and Fernandez is a
infield hit. And, unfortunately, with Bo playing third, you're never going to get any outs on any of those balls. So single, then another bunt. So a little bit of small ball. You know, it's not easy to string together hits, but occasionally it does happen, and he doesn't feature a ton of strikeout in his game. So, you know, he ended up, I thought it was important that he, well, and then, of course, a couple ambushes here with the bases loaded. You know, trying to get ahead in the count, and that's just a laser. But the BABIP will turn around for Peterson. So I think I think some good starts are coming. Does he look dominant right now? No. Did he maybe pitch too many innings last year? Yeah. You know, maybe all that's a small factor, but I just don't think he's got his feet under him yet. And he's just not rolling yet. I have to give credit to the Diamondbacks. They had a good approach with him. Now, what I thought was important is he still pitched 5 innings in this game. You know, after that, he pitched really, really well. So, you know, Mendy, I thought, did a good job leaving him in there. He could have easily turned through that whole bullpen in a very unfair fashion yesterday. But, you know, he hung with his starter, who I felt like earned that. And he got through 5 innings. And, yeah, they chased it, and they didn't end up winning the game. But they only used 2 pitchers in the game, which is going to set them up for success, you know, down the line. So he ends up pitching 85 pitches to get through 5. As for Sean goes 4 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. You know, the results haven't been bad so far. He's got a even flat 3 ERA for Manaea. But, you know, it's just in the modern game, it sticks out like a sore thumb when you're averaging 88.5 on your fastball. So to me, I'm still a little more concerned about this. I mean, this just feels health related, and it feels like opportunity is going to be tough to come by unless he can get the velo up. You know, the whiff rate 17%. I mean, he does a great job of inducing weak contact for the most part, and, you know, pitching well. And I've mentioned before that there was some positives with Sean, like the changeup shape, 1 in 17. That's great. Even the 4-seam, like 12 is good vert for Sean from his angle. The sinker, 5 in 21. I mean, that's a great shape. So, like, there's some things in here that at times have been pretty good. So I'm not, like, terribly worried about either of them. And in fact, Sean's filling a really important role right now, like to save the rest of the guys, like Weaver and Devin Williams in particular, but also Brooks, and then eventually when Minter gets back, like these are guys that have to be a little bit protected out there so they can lock down the games you're on the plus side. As for David, you know, I guess the biggest thing is he's just nibbling a little bit right now, and you know, not getting very much batted ball luck. I mean, I bet his BABIP's pretty high, especially in that sequence in those innings. It's pretty hard to string together all those hits. So anyway, to answer that first question, I wasn't really planning on watching either of these guys, the Mets, but I watched a lot of that game yesterday, and yeah, they didn't win it, and it wasn't a great win. It wasn't a great baseball game for the Metros, but I'm not like horribly concerned about either. I think they could both, you know, be a big part of the equation this year still. All right, what else we got here? Hey, Adam, we need some pop in Queens, but with no Soto. I'm not your guy, unfortunately. I'm not your guy. I'm concerned with Peterson. He's just throwing everything down the middle. I mean, okay. I mean, you know, this is what he did last year, too. It's not like expected stats really loved David last season either. You know, his style is very contact. Now, when he's going well, he can get you on the ground pretty well. You know, he can generate a pop-up when he needs to. He can control it a little bit. And so far this season, the ground balls are still there. But, yeah, I mean, it's the contact's been a little harder. I mean, you look at 2025, which was, you know, what was he, an all-star last year? And it's basically the same. Like, there's really nothing different. 4.61 expected ERA in 2025, and 2026 it's 4.92. It's not that different, you know. He's on the same track here, so it's the same pitcher. And I think you have to take the good with the bad. You're going to get some outings where he rolls and every ball's at somebody, and you know he goes 6-7 innings. So I'm not going to write off David yet at this point. No point. Glad to see Gore is in the title. Yep, we're gonna watch Mackenzie Gore. Can Manaea's velo drop account for his increased walks? Less velo, nervous to catch, too much plate. Yeah, there's probably a little bit of that going on. There's probably a little bit of that going on. How bad are his walks right now? 14.3% walks is not good. And he is not getting any strikeouts. So he's getting very lucky at the moment. He's got a 6.5 expected ERA. He is filling an important role, as I mentioned, but yeah, there could be something to that. I mean, look, when you know you're not nasty, you have to pick around the edges a little bit. It's hard to stay in the strike zone. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Fast base running team could run on the Mets if they attack the infield corners with little bunt hits. I mean, you're seeing it there. Bo's not going to make any charging barehand plays. He's not quick enough to get to them, and he doesn't have enough arm strength to convert them, and I don't think he has the hands to grab it every time. So, yes, they are vulnerable in that way. I think 2025 second half Peterson is closer than who he truly is in the All-Star half. I think he's somewhere in the middle. I mean, when everything goes right, he's going to put up huge inning totals with zeros, and that's going to look great. When everything's wrong, he's going to give up a lot of hits, and it's going to have some blowout potential. He's somewhere in the middle. The Giants and now the Diamondbacks have been attacking Peterson's first pitch a lot. I think you have to. You know, his game is, he has to get ahead of you. There's nothing intimidating about the velocity or whatever, so I agree. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Requesting a look at friend of the show, Lorenzen. Yes, I want to watch Lorenzen and some of the Rocky stuff as well. Yeah, and that's what you're going to see a lot of. He almost is going to make the play, but he's not going to really make a lot of the plays. And I know we want to watch Cease, and we really have to get started here. In a minute watching games because I don't have as much time today. On the other side of the ball for the Mets, is there anything in particular about Lindor that tends to see him? No, I mean he's like the most level-headed player I've played with in in a lot of years. It's funny because everybody sees the Lindor Mr. Smile, the bright clothes, the fashion, whatever, all the stuff he's into. But like as a baseball player, he's like right here. He's like the most flat person personality-wise. Like there's no real highs, no real lows, and I think maybe early in the year there's a little bit of maybe he could play with a little bit more energy, but you have to be yourself. And so I don't really have anything in particular to complain about Sean on that side of things, personally. All right, let's get into some of the baseball games from yesterday. I mentioned a few hitters, so maybe we'll pound out the hitters early because there's a few hitters that had nice days yesterday, and I want to give them a little bit of love. We'll start with Rafael Devers, who's not off to a great start with the Giants, as the Giants have been very disappointing so far. But he did put together a nice game yesterday, couple hits and a homer. Who did the Giants play yesterday? Oh, the Phillies, that's right. Yeah, and he ends up clipping Nola for a big shot. So, look, I mean, I have to check in on Raffy every now and then and on the Giants' offensive players because without a couple of these offensive guys, they're in deep doo-doo this year. But Arise has been playing well. He's over 300. And Nola, he ends up coming. So let's watch all of Raffy's at-bats really quick. Because he clips them on the third at-bat. So I'm curious what happens here and how the sequences were. All right, first at-bat versus Nola, knuckle curve. He's going to strike out in this at-bat. Knuckle curve. When we've talked about Aaron, who was my teammate with Italy, and he showed good velocity early in that tournament, and then it kind of went back down. And here early, it's pretty good, 93. He's a different pitcher when he's at 93 than 90. But the big thing with him is like, the only real true plus pitch he has now stuff-wise is that knuckle curve. And then other than that, he's aiming pitches. So there's a low freeze first at-bat. Second at-bat, he's going to get Raffy to hit into a double play. Fastball away. He thought about challenging, decides not to. That was so funny. All right, it would have been a strike, so good thing he didn't. But watch Raffy. Watch Raffy's, watch him pretend that he's not challenging and scratch his head with his helmet. Look, hand goes up, and then he's like, eh. All right, another fastball here. Up high ball. Yeah, and he is. Arise is like 330 right now already in the early going. Changeup. So fastball, changeup, and then he's going to get him out with his sinker. Although that's hit pretty hard, but that will work beautifully for any pitcher. All right, so now he's going to ambush him on a first pitch heater. Oh, and it's just middle. So we talked a lot about how the book on Raffy is, or especially early in most seasons, is to pitch him up with the fastball. He's late on fastballs, but that you're always playing a dangerous game because at some point he's going to connect on one, and it's going to be really loud. And that's what this was. 108-1 at 35 to dead center. And the Giants needed that. The Giants have been starving for power. So that's why I liked the trade when they made the trade initially to pick up Rafael Devers. I said, okay, Rafael Devers, Matt Chapman, Willie Adames. Now you're starting to work with some stuff, some guys that can hit some balls out of the yard. So anyway, good to see him take a nice hack there. Let's see it from the side. And obviously, the big issue is this pitch is just down the middle. It's not on the corner or whatever. And that's why his swing path allows him to get to it. But also, like I said, you're just playing a dangerous game. You can get fastballs by him, but at some point, he's going to get one. And there's Carita. 6 swing right there. And then he gets a hit left on left here, which tells me that maybe he's getting pretty close because this is a really tough matchup for anybody. Cutter here, sinker here. And it's a beautiful line drive over the middle. That's as tough of a matchup left on left as you're going to get in the game. And he drives in a rise with a single up the middle. So if you're looking for positives, if you're a Giants fan, looking at you, Victoria, I think Raffy found something in this game. You know, swings look a lot better. He's on time against 2 fastballs. That's something that you never really see. And this one was left on left. So want to give Raffy a little love here in the early going as he's very important and he's been basically a neutral, not really himself yet. 638 OPS through his first 54 plate appearances of this year. He's going to be super important. Matt Chapman also hitting 300. Did not realize that. All right, second guy I wanted to check in on from yesterday is actually Taylor Ward of the Orioles. Got traded over there for Grayson Rodriguez, and he's been a revelation so far for the Orioles as Pete's gone off to a slow start. Adley's not playing great. The bottom of the order has been kind of weak sauce so far. But Taylor Ward now, I just want to give him his flowers. After a 4-for-5 day yesterday with 3 doubles, 383, 1,038 OPS, and been a very nice pickup for the Orioles as they're going to, you know, try to compete in the AL East this year. Crazy, though, to have a 370 ex-WOBA with first percentile barrel. So no barrels yet. No barrels, and he's still got 1,000 OPS, which is pretty cool to see. All right, so who did the O's play yesterday? They played the White Sox. I don't like to look at too many hitters, you know. I mean, I like the pitchers, but Taylor Ward, you go 4 for 5. You definitely deserve to get your at-bats watched. All right, facing Sean Burke. 4-seam fastball. Taylor Ward also is sort of in that Justin Turner type of swing where he kind of drifts forward as his only move. You see that? And he just wants to be in that immediate launch position. Gets jammed here, drops it into no man's land.
And it's going to fall in front of Harris.
But it's more of a feature of his swing than a bug because he's looking to get out and around pitches down the middle and pull them in the air. So he's going to allow himself to be jammed, understanding that that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's a lot of hits when you get jammed over there to the right side.
And it's going to fall in front of Harris.
9 doubles with 0 barrels. Crazy. All right, second at-bat of the game. Swing and a miss, 4-seam. I think their sideline reporter is married to Cronenworth. Is that right? I think Brooke Fletcher. I think she's married to Jay Cronenworth, right? White Sox sideline girl reporter. All right, another 0-2 count. So immediately behind 0-2, both at bats. And just off the rip, and we'll talk about this a little bit when we look at Walker, who's next, Jordan Walker. When a guy's upright like this and he's kind of on top of the plate, like he is, don't be fooled by the open stance. He's pretty close to the plate there. you're going to think like, oh, I'm going to pitch him in. Like, it's only natural to think he can't get his arms extended. All right, slider here. And that's a perfect pitch for him to hit. Drops the head on it, takes him into the corner. So it's like, if you're facing this guy, yeah, fastball up and in is going to play. Fastball up and in is going to play. But like off speed, down and zone, his swing is perfectly on time for that.
3-2.
Drops it into left. It's such an interesting setup. I wonder a lot about these setups. Like, I think you can mess with this timing a little bit, but on one hand, I get it. There's only one move. There's not like a back and forward. Like, you start all the way back and you just go forward and go right into your swing. So it's a lot less to train. What do you guys think about that? All right, next at bat. He's going to get out, actually, this at bat. Same pitcher still. Four-seam strike and a four-seam. Let's see where this pitch location is. Up middle. Just misses it. And then he's going to get 2 more hits after this. All right, now he's got Newcomb. Fastball away. Changeup coming. And now the slurve. So is he going to hit all breaking pitches today right down the left field line? Because that's what his swings grew for, and they're throwing it right into the old barrel. Oh, he thought he was going to have plenty of time. What happened here? He slows up like this is automatic, and then he would have been out, but Benny's throw's bad. All right, so another breaking ball down in. Perfectly on time. I mean, what I'm reading is fastball up in is the play. All right, next at bat, he's going to get another double.
How many people do we have on the Tyler Schweitzer?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's smooth, no double cocking, and that helps you be on time. I think it helps, at least for him, it simplifies things. So he's just time. He's doing it's a 1 instead of a 1-2. If that makes sense.
Thank you so much for your time.
So I don't know. I find it interesting. You know, Marlon Byrd kind of initiated this approach, and then Justin Turner, and we see a lot of other guys do it. That's another breaking ball. So all 3 hits are on breaking balls. As Derek Hill cannot get to that. Pulls 3 breaking balls. So I'm just going to guess they're going to probably throw him some fastballs next. But more than anything, I just wanted you guys to see this swing. Because I find this style, it's a very modern style of hitting. All the weight's on the back leg, then he just kind of lifts and moves forward and rotates through that. But it's been quite effective. It's been quite effective. Ever since he made that general swing change, he's been pretty damn good. I like the simple move forward, simplifying and minimizing movement before swinging the bat is good. Did Ward have this stance last year? Yeah, basically the same stance. When I faced him, you know, I just would slow him down and then speed him up. I think that's what you do with a guy who's drifting in his load like that. I mean, it's kind of hard to fire from every point of that load. But you see a lot of people doing this stuff now, which brings me to our next guy who's been absolutely on fire. We've already explored him a little bit. We watched all of his at-bats early in the season, but then he went and had another good game yesterday. And now he's simply put, he's at the top of the scale of the league through the first 2 weeks of the season. Jordan Walker, 49 plate appearances thus far, 5 homers. He had 6 all of last season. So everything is trending up for this guy. 295, 367, 682, over 1,000 OPS already. A lot of the issues he had before, and I talked about this a lot with some of the other guys that have, you know, massive, you know, power, bat speed, and they don't need to create a lot of velocity. You know, that usually does come with elevated whiffs and Ks and chase and that type of stuff. But you don't need to make it 50th percentile. You just need to mitigate it away from the single digits. So last year, you know, this is where Jordan Walker was at. He was at 1st percentile whiff, 3rd percentile K. Now he's at 24th percentile whiff, 25th percentile K. So to me, like, all you had to do is come back to the pack a little bit, and then all the rest of your tools will really play out. And that's what we're seeing so far. I mean, literally 100th percentile in expected slug, average exit velocity, hard hit percentage, bat speed, barrel percentage, I mean, you name it, he's crushing it. And now everybody's finally seeing why he was such a big time prospect. So let's watch Jordan Walker a little bit more as they played the Nats yesterday. And this is a guy I'm just fascinated about. I was ready to basically give up on him because I hadn't seen any evidence that he would make an adjustment until this year. This is the first time I've seen him make an adjustment. But it brings me back to an old lesson that I learned a long time ago, which is it's hard to count anybody truly out in baseball that has elite talent because you are often 1 or 2 adjustments away from kind of clicking it back in. So he doesn't have a great game yesterday, ends up going 1 for 4 with a walk, but that's on base 40. That's a 400 on base percentage. On base twice, 2 out of 5 at bats. So anyway, let's watch the good and the bad of yesterday's game. Miles Michaelis, former teammate, is going to get him this first at bat. Looks like on a 3-pitch strikeout. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the swing changes that he's made. Particularly, it's more of a stance change, which I think is allowing him to see the ball a little bit better and a little bit longer. So he has a tiny bit more time to make a swing decision. That was a tough at-bat. First at-bat here is a roll over to third. And then he's going to click in for a home run. This at-bat versus Brad Lord. All right, force team away, ball 1. Force team away, ball 2.
It's part of another combined no-hitter.
He seems far off the plate. Pitch him outside. Not necessarily. You got to remember, he's a big-ass dude. Now, I'm looking at it like he's upright and off the plate, so I think down and away is still wide open because I don't see him being able to bend and get to it. But the other thing that we've noticed in the early going is he has been on time, middle in. So I think to your point so far, I think the play is the outer rail. I think the outer rail is correct for now. Walker is just hitting the fastball crazy, 4-run value. Here's the foul ball that last year he's blown away by this pitch. But now he's able to make contact with it. And I saw his swing length hasn't really changed much, but to me, something about his launch quickness has gotten a little bit better. And I think it's being more upright and taking a shorter stride. Anyway, here's the homer. All he has to do is touch it. That's it. 108. He's going to hit the ball as hard as anybody in the big leagues. Any ball in the air that he hits has got a shot to leave the yard in any yard. So 107.8 at 31. And what I really wanted to watch was him from the side. So I want to dial back maybe to an at-bat from the side last year so you can see the difference. First of all, he was way more open, so he had to completely close up. A lot of head movement. Right now, he's a little more simple, keeping it quiet. Number 2, look at how upright he is. The distance between the feet, minimal. The stride, minimal. Still can stay very athletic with this. Now this is a little bit of a wide, but it's not, if he's not out here, the torso is not getting pulled forward. Everything's staying stacked, which allows him to just rotate right there very smoothly, as you can see. Also, I think he's picking up the ball a little bit later. And because of that, you get a few more inches. And a few more inches makes a difference in this game. Everything's won on the margins in this game. Balls are coming in very fast. We already checked his batting stance earlier, but let me try to pick up something from the side. Let's just say Cubs, Cardinals, and try to find a game from last year where Walker played in, which I'm assuming probably pretty early in the season, 2025. Of course, I pick a game he's not in. Ridiculous. We'll keep trying Cubs, Cardinals. All right, no more Cubs. Let's try. Let's try Reds, Cardinals. And let's try 2025. Let's try like middle of June. There is Jordan Walker. All right, let's look at him from the side. All right, so he starts more open. Well, first you got to see him from center. Starting more open last year. Now the feet are squared up. Initial move. Feet never get back to neutral. They stay open the whole time, which leaves him even more exposed on the outer part of the plate. But also, let's watch him from the side. I think his head movement is more forward. I think that the head's traveling a little bit more. And it might seem subtle, but being a little more squatty, I think for him, forces him to kind of bend out of that and go forward a touch more. And to me, not only is he having a problem with moving forward last year a little bit, but he's also a little more open, so he can't cover away as much. I also think his load takes a tiny bit longer, so there's more velocity issues. And so those are some of the things that he's cleaned up at the start of this season. And why I think he's playing pretty well. Here's all the homers. Let's just click through them if we can. Here's the homers so far this season. So you get a sense of that he's just touching the ball. And you can also see that the front foot's not really opening up like it was last year, which he wasn't driving balls the other way. And when you're a donkey like him, you can be driving balls the other way. Like, you know, most people can't do it. You can. So, you know, take advantage of your superpower.
Clears the bases with now 2 away. And Jordan Walker sends a screamer out to right.
I mean, just silly pop.
Looks up and
He can miss-hit balls. He's very, very similar to Judge in a lot of ways. Like they're similar beasts, you know, they're just both really big. And I think this is the one we just saw. We don't need to see that one. They're just both really big, and so they don't have to create a lot. And I think that was the biggest thing with Judge, was just simplifying everything so he could get barrel to ball. You've seen Stanton make the same adjustment. You've seen a bunch of different stuff like that. Here's the really big tank, the grand slam.
That's when the rain was supposed to come. That ball is,
I mean, just way more on time for fastballs.
left center field. That's a grand
So
slam for Walker.
I think the changes are for real. We'll see if he can stay consistent the whole year. Obviously, the league is going to figure out to pitch him down and away, and they're going to pound him down and away for a while. But we can see it on the batting stance and intercept here. We'll start back in 2023. We will group by season. We will do minimum swings 25. We will update. And then I'll go ahead and search for Jordan Walker, and you can see how his stance has evolved the last few years. And then I also want to look a little bit on his True Media, and then we'll move on to some more baseball. But I just think this guy's been such a good story early. All right, Jordan Walker. All right, so this is 2023. Off the plate, 26 inches, 32 inches depth, and then you see the initial move. There, and then 2024, even further off the plate in terms of the openness of the stance, 16 degrees open there. 2025, Jordan Walker, 17 degrees open, 31 degree depth. Hold on, let me go by year here. Yeah, so 2025, 31 degrees off the plate, 31 feet, 31 inches off the plate, 17 degrees open. Depth in box, 23.8. That's another important 3. Not nearly as deep in the box either. 23.8 is the depth in the box of Jordan Walker's center of mass last year. And then I talked about how this year. So here's this year. Now he's closed it up. He's only 10 degrees open. So he came back 7 degrees, back more neutral. But also depth in the box, he's now at 26.3. So he's moved back about 3 inches in the box. That might not sound like a lot, but it is. It is a lot. He's got 3 more inches to play with. He has less overall movement, and it's paying off by being more on time. I think that's kind of the bottom line when it comes to this dude. Damn it, where did my True Media go? Username? I don't even remember. Damn it. Totally forgot. All right, we're going to skip that for now. We'll just go ahead and watch some baseball. We'll go back to True Media later. All right, anyway, let's get in the solo shot for a second, see what you guys are talking about. Much more upright this year. Had no shot of hitting anything outside last year. Yep, I agree totally. Oh, we just looked at this on the Savant tool. Shorter leg kick seems to get a lot of hitters on time. Yeah, they have to relax. Like, when you're that big, you don't have to create as much. I understand why a smaller player needs to like do a whole big load and bring back move and leg kick and the whole thing, because that's how you're going to be able to create power, and you need to create some thump in your bat. But when you're that big, you don't really have to do it. So it's a little bit of a different goal in mind. It's just get the barrel to the ball on time. I thought it was optimal to stand furthest in the box. Is that true for most hitters? Well, it does give you a little more time to see, but I think it's different for every guy. I think that there's some nuance there. Some guys are probably a little better with their swing path a little further, a little closer, believe it or not, but I think it's different for everybody. Walker uses a 34-inch Victus bat. He himself is built like a tight end, 6'5", 250, and that's sort of what makes him special. That is sort of what makes him special. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into our pitchers now. Those were our 3 hitters I wanted to look at right off the rip. As for pitchers, right now I have Mackenzie Gore, Shohei, Sonny Gray, potentially Mason Miller, Will Warren, Lorenzen. These are all on the list. But let's get started with Mackenzie Gore because he got traded over to the Rangers. This is now his 3rd organization. We were wondering if this is the year he's going to make the leap. He's been very, very dominant early in seasons, the last few seasons, and then he's kind of hit the wall. So this is technically still early in the year, but 5 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts is a phenomenal game. First is the Mariners, who are scuffling bad. Let's see what the mix was for Mackenzie. 33 fastballs, 22 curveballs, 10 changeups, 7 sliders, 7 cutters, 3 sinkers, 33% whiff. That's great. Tons on the curveball. 71% first pitch strikes is great. Velocity also very good, although it did peel back a little bit for sure in that 5th inning. Only 4 hard hit contacts, 3 of them on the fastball, 1's on the cutter. So let's take a look at it. Mackenzie Gore and the Rangers versus the Mariners. I thought this was a savvy pickup. This was one of the guys that I thought the Yankees should have went after on the trade market, but they went for Weathers, which I like that move too. All right, so get squeezed on this first one. If they would have ABS challenged this one, that would have been a strikeout. So leadoff walk, called strikeout here to Big Dumper. Let's see where the location is. Up in.
1-2.
Catches him guessing. I've talked about it before in the stream, but most catchers are going to guess. They call pitches all day long, so it's hard for them not to guess. Oh my God, that's another pitch that's a strike. So despite getting horribly squeezed in the 1st inning, he's going to get through it anyway. 2 walks here, first 3 batters. All right, called strike 3 here to Randy on a curveball. Straight buckler gets him looking there. Surprised he didn't swing at that. And then a strikeout here of Donnie. 96-8. So one thing I like about him and Weathers, the 2 guys that I was talking about just now in the trade market, is these are 2 of like the top 5 hardest throwing lefty starters in the game. Lefties already have a big advantage in the game right now for whatever reason. But on top of that, you pair that with another thing that's pretty effective, like having top tier 4-seam velocity. Another good thing to have. Mackenzie has plenty of that. All right, 2nd inning. He punched aside in the 1st inning. Here's the 2nd inning. Mitch Garver, ground ball. Nice play here at 3rd. First pitch out here to Crawford. Also, this is probably a really good place to get your confidence on the mound. You're not going to give up a lot of home run damage in Texas. Controlled atmosphere. Your pitches are going to move pretty consistent every time. As he punches out Connor Joe, who just came up on a nice curveball here. He also has a certain swag thing that he does. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, where he always takes his glove off and holds it in his hand. I don't know. I always think that's a good look. All right, third inning. Eno said his model just gives you a boost if you're left-handed. Yeah, I'm not surprised because the lefties have been so damn effective. Curveball out there. Called strike here on a curveball to Ref Snyder. Backdoor, very nice. Oh shit, Jordan Montgomery sighting. Cal Raleigh hard hit, one hopper. I'm over under 106. I'm gonna take over. Under 105.5. That ball was smoked. All right, Julio, cutter. Wow, let's watch this hole at bat. That was beautiful. Let's watch how he sets him up. First pitch, heater up, swinging foul ball, very aggressive. Curveball off of that. Gets the take for the strike, even though that was down. Curveball off of that. Very surprised he went back to slider here, honestly. Or cutter, slider, whatever, but perfect location. Man, you play a dangerous game, but if you can locate like that, that's a nice pitch. So, big strikeout right there. All right, next up. I'm a little late to the party, but when you see a batter has moved back in the box, how do you attack him as a pitcher? You know, to be honest, it's not something that you notice a lot as a pitcher because guys usually set where they are in the box. If they move back in the box within the at-bat, you'd be thinking go slow. Something slow and you know, down and away maybe, so that they have to kind of dive out there to get it. And it's a little further for their contact point, but it's not something you notice a ton. More so if a guy moved up, then you would want to pound him in. Here's a strikeout on a curveball below. The 1-2. Oh, curveball above, actually. Swing through. Randy's not seeing the ball very well to start the season. That's part of the reason why this club's struggling. Curveball strikeout again. So tons of curveball strikeouts in this game. And truthfully, I love his curveball paired with his fastball. They're opposites. He's going to be able to play the line of the fastball into starting where he wants to start his curveball. All right, here's a base hit by Mitch. The Mitch Garver Freedom Festival. All right, strikeout here of Crawford. Slider. Nice pitch, gets the chase. It's two good breaking pitches and a very extreme level of fastball is what Mackenzie's got going on. Here's going to be an easy play, double play. And that's it for his outing. Really nice outing. I do think at some point he's going to have to be better with his changeup. He did throw 10 of them yesterday. He only got one swing. 30% zone percentage on his changeup. But you can see, like, the fastball is the only pitch really all in the zone. 70% zone rate on fastball, which is pretty good. So it was fastball command that opened up everything for him yesterday. But he's a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher. He's definitely going to help the Rangers a lot. I like the trade that they made. I think that was a savvy move by the Rangers. Picking up a lefty with plus velocity in that ballpark kind of contrasts what they have with Eovaldi and Jake. So I expect Gore to throw 180 plus Ks, and he has a better defense behind him than in Washington. Yes, and it's a good ballpark to pitch in, no doubt about it. If the season ended in May, he would win the Cy Young. It's true. Imagine if the Padres had this guy. 97 from the left is no joke. Gore's one weakness is how he falls off a cliff after May. What can he do to avoid this here? I'm sure he's well aware of this, so I'm sure that's informing all of the decisions. I'm sure that Texas talked to him. Like, hey, we need to come up with a plan to have you clicking the whole year, feeling good the whole year. So I'm sure some of his in-between stuff behind the scenes has shifted a little bit. Obviously, he's got a couple really good guys to mentor him there, and Nate and Jake. They go about it differently, but something will pop, something will work for him. You got to be tireless in your pursuit of figuring those issues out. High curveball when executed, nasty, but so risky. I don't even think it's that risky. I mean, no, people just don't swing at it a lot, but I hear you. But I definitely hear you on that. Anything that breaks if they go back because the ball will break before their swing path more likely. I don't know what that means. What do you think about ABS is in the middle of the plate at plane rather than the 3D zone? I mean, look, I don't like love it that much, but it is what it is. You have to utilize it. And I think the midway pickup point is better for ball strike pitches than strike ball pitches that what you would think would clip the zone. Those are going to be balls now. But the pitches that are coming back to the zone, they have a better chance of clicking it. Yeah. It's like anything else. Like if you're trying to dot it at the top of the zone, Marcus, like a curveball, you either miss it for a ball above the zone or you dot it. Yeah, you don't want to miss down the middle. So I understand what you're saying there. And that's the same reason why I never like to throw right on right, like cutter in, because it's like I either throw it perfect or I leak it down the middle, right? And so I get what you're saying there. Totally, I'm picking that up. All right, next pitcher on the docket is who did I have here? Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray and the Red Sox. Red Sox get a series dub yesterday. Sonny ends up pitching 6 1/3, 3 hits, 2 walks, only 2 strikeouts, 6 hard hits. What was the mix here? Because he's a spin lord strikeout guy. 25 cutters, so that's an 88-mile-an-hour cutter. 25 of those, 22 curveballs. 19 four-seamers, 11 sweepers, 7 sinkers, 6 changeup. He's just such a different pitcher than a lot of guys with a sweeper because he uses his sweeper for swing and miss, whereas most don't. 19% whiff. Most of it came on that sweeper and a little bit on the curveball. Only 46% first pitch strikes. So kind of amazing that he was able to tiptoe around this, probably with some smart pitching, but they didn't really hit very many balls hard. So Brewers versus Red Sox. Now, I would think this would be a team that would struggle, that he would struggle against a little bit. Their contact, they're a little bit grindy, a lot of lefties, but no. It's a big old donut on the day for the Brewers. So it starts off good as Boston College alumni starts off his day in Boston with a double, Mr. Sal Frelick. And now we're going to go to the strikeout package. Told you the sweeper is his strikeout pitch. For most people, it is not. But for Sonny, it absolutely is. He holds it back to 2 strikes. He's got more depth on it than most. Yeah, negative 4.3. This is negative 21 left, almost negative 5 down. And that's just nasty. He's one of the best spin lords in the game. Here's a first pitch out on Yelich. This is the very typical approach to Yelich, to try to cutter him. He likes to stay inside the ball. So get something riding in further on those hands. And then a third out here, Jake Bauers. I mentioned they're going to stack the lefties against him. So on paper, this is just a tough outing. He's going to have to really pitch, but it looks like he did. All right, gets through the first. First pitch out here, Gary Sanchez. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. A first pitch out on not even a strike. You know what I'm saying?
The only positive sign out of that, it won't require any surgery right now for him.
Around usually what 30-35 minutes they go out.
Cutter here. Perfect location. So far it's location over stuff. He's doing a good job locating his pitches, pitching to movement. Here's a cutter. This is going to be a blooper hit. Weak contact hit. No big deal there. And a 1 pitch out to former Sock Hamilton. Gets it in there again. So location of the cutter has been key. Hey, Roman making plays. And we're on to the third. First pitch sinker in here for the first out. Gets off the barrel of Joey Ortiz. That was actually a 1-1, but sinker in. Good pitch there. Sinker in, 0-2 going for the freeze here. Kind of jams Frelick. So this is like another example of why this pitch is so safe. Like 0-2 count, the idea is to get the freeze. You want to freeze it right there. Obviously, Sonny misses with this pitch a little bit more into the zone. But when the ball pops in, you still have to be quick to get there. And there's a little bit of hesitation because that ball looks like it's coming in on you initially out of the hand. And so that's why it's a safe pitch in general. And that's what we see here. He's a little late to it, gets himself jammed, flies out to left. Here's a walk to Mitchell, 3-1. And now Yelich, 2-0, fastball. Yeah, risky pitch. You could already just tell by the count. So that means 1st and 3rd and 2 outs. Let's see how he gets himself out of this pitching to Bowers. First pitch, changeup ball. Second pitch, curve ball. Perfect. Oh, well, now back to the changeup. Perfect. 1-2, probably to the sweeper. Yep, to the sweeper when he needs the strikeout. Devastating. Because it's so similar to his curveball, but then it has more sweep to it. So guys just miss. Like, they think that the ball's going to have less break to the left. And then they're just super wrong as this thing's chucking 20 inches to the left. This is such a devastating pitch. Nasty. All right, on to the fourth. Gary Sanchez going to get him with a sweeper. Down below, slices it out to right at Abreu, 1 out. 2-1 sinker to Renifo. Gets the tapper. Sonny will take that. And then a quick out here to Lockridge. Cutter. This cutter's got a lot of left turn on it. Pretty interesting that how he pitches. I mean, negative 7.4 on the cutter, and you can see it from the camera angle. There's a lot of left turn on this cutter. I mean, this is a slider. So he's basically an all-spin pitcher now with a tiny sprinkling of fastballs. Because if this is your primary pitch, and this is essentially just a power slider, you're throwing power slider, sweeper, curveball, changeup, and then you're sprinkling in some fastballs. It just shows you, like, there's some super savviness in there with Sonny Gray. All right, 5th inning. Sweeper here, 0-2. That's the one thing, is he's just very predictable 0-2, 1-2 that he's throwing you a sweeper. Other than that, and I don't know if that even matters because it's still hard to hit. Great play by Sadon. But, you know, it's pretty obvious that's coming every time. 2-1 cutter here. And those have been so effective at just getting that exact type of swing, that reach and rollover. 2 outs there. Frelick. Frelick had a couple good swings at the ball today. There's a line drive out there. Goes out for the 6th. Curveball to Mitchell. Pretty good swing at that. How hard he hit that? 1-0-1-2. Fly out to center. Back to Yelich. This is 3rd time through the order. Cutter. Oh, gets in on those hands. Just enough. Flies it out to Roman. Man, people are really coming around his fastball. And I think that's the horizontal break. Even the fastballs have got cut action on it. Only 1 inch of horizontal. So he's got his primary pitch right now is that cutter that's going -7. The fastball sort of plays in between that, like at right around 1. And then the big breaking balls have way more to the left. So almost everything going to the left. And then there's just a tiny bit that goes to the right when he throws his changeup or sinker. But not a lot of lift on anything. And so you see a lot of guys coming out and around the ball with some poor swings. All right, 7th inning. And he walks Gary to start off the 7th with that cutter. And then this is it. They take him out after he gets this 1 out here from Renifo. Another perfectly located fastball there. And they almost get the double play. So command over stuff. He's got interesting stuff, no doubt about it. Especially at this point. You go look at the movement profile on Sonny Gray. I mean, he's throwing this primary pitch is this brown, these cutters, right? And you see how the fastball is sort of a similar version to it, just with more lift and more speed. So it's like the fastball becomes the in-between pitch to the cutter being the primary, and then you can go extreme east or extreme west off of that with sweepers and curveballs to the left, sinkers and changeups to the right. It's a nibble, nibble, nibble. He didn't really attack the middle of the zone too often, but the approach is weird enough, and the put-away ability is real enough when he gets ahead in the count. I mean, shit, he had 200 strikeouts each of the last 2 years. That he puts you in a tough spot. And you see guys that are looking to be aggressive against them and they make weak contact and they get out early. But he's certainly done his part in the early going. 2.76 ERA through 3 starts with the Red Sox. As you know, that's supposed to be the strength of their team, is the pitching. So he's doing his part, and we'll see how they pick up from there. All right, let me get in the solo shot here for a second. That's a slider, but did Gray say it's a cutter? So then they just labeled it wrong. Yes, Gray says it's a cutter, so therefore they label it as a cutter. And, you know, cutter slider definitions are a bit ambiguous, obviously, but obviously that's a slider shape. So he can call it what he wants, but he's pitching off slider, essentially, you know. All right, what else we got here? I was talking about batter placement in the box. You see the move back, off speed becomes unhittable, whereas if he has issues with the off speed, he may move up. Yeah, I was saying that, but it's hard to see it in the moment. And you don't see a lot of guys move back in the box mid at bat. Sometimes up, though, or sometimes closer or further away from the plate. Is Sonny the one doing the grunting? Because I can't hear any of that right now. Thoughts on Roman's arm becoming a problem? It sucks. It sucks. He's 21. I think he's got enough arm strength, and I think he'll figure this out, and he'll be an everyday left fielder. But it sucks that they have to think about their best alignment DHing the young guy right now. Because, I mean, Duran's a better fielder right now, so it makes it tough. If you want to play your best defensive alignment, it's Abreu, Cedon, Rafaela, and Jarren Duran right now. So that sucks, too, because there's days you want to play Yoshida, but now Roman's got to be in the lineup. He's your best hitter, so it's an issue. It's a little bit of an issue, but I think they'll get to the bottom of that pretty quickly. Sonny Gray is one of those right-handed pitchers who gives off left-handed pitcher energy. Does that make sense? Yeah, he's quirky. It's quirky. I felt like I was like that a little bit. Nibble, nibble, nibble. Some guys have to. I mean, you know, you watch Daisuke Matsuzaka pitch back in the day, or, you know, even me, 2024. Nibble, 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 nibble. Sometimes you got to. All right, next up, we're going to watch both pitchers from the Blue Jays-Dodgers game yesterday, Shohei as well as Cease. They both pitched. It was a good showdown. Both threw the ball pretty well. Blue Jays end up coming out on top. We'll watch Shohei first, Cease second. And then after that, I want to watch some Roch Cholowsky at-bats. If we have enough time, maybe we'll get into the Rockies stuff, and then we'll call it for the day. Shohei Ohtani yesterday. Now, I mentioned he must be going for the Cy Young this year. That's the only reason why he's throwing 96 pitches here on April 8th. April 8th. But I love it. I love it. He's going for it. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, not earned, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, 96 pitches. I'm curious if he's stuck with that slow curveball in this game. That's what we've been seeing a lot lately. 4-seam fastball, 34 of those, 22 sweepers, 14 curveballs. Yes, there it is, 14 curveballs. It was his third most used pitch. 11 splits, 8 sinkers, 4 sliders, 3 cutters, only 16% whiff. Thus the 2 strikeouts. So a little bit of a different kind of outing for Shohei today. 84.6 mile an hour average exit velo is crazy. But, you know, he's just never out of any count because of this mix. The size of this mix keeps him in every count. So let's get into it, and then we'll look at Cease next. Dodgers and Blue Jays. Shohei Ohtani, the Golden God. All right, gonna get greeted with a hit here from Springer. First at bat of the game. Little rollover fast, little rollover grounder. 98.4 on this heater. Usual shape for him, which is not a ton of vert anymore, with a little bit of perceived cut. Next up, Dalton Varsho splitter coming here. Ooh, really good split. This should be 2. There's 1, and there's not 2, but pretty close maybe. I don't know if they challenge this or not. This is a great location with this splitter. Look at how it's perfectly dotted down and away and gets the reach and pull swing. Dodgers play-by-play talked about how Ohtani is going for the Cy Young the whole game. I mean, 100%. That's the only reason why they're doing that. I think if the Dodgers were driving this, they would not be doing this right now. Sinker base hit. So this is a decent batted ball outcome anyway because you want to get Vlad on the ground no matter what. But he hits the ball hard, and that's why this ball gets through, right? How hard is that? 111. So it was. Now there's 2 on and 1 out. 3-0 count, 3-0 swing by Jesus Sanchez. So, man, cutter middle down popped up. This is insane. He swung 3-0 trying to do major damage, and then Shohei's on it a little bit and goes cutter? Or is this just a bad fastball? But either way, he gets extremely lucky with this pitch. And I don't know if this is a good strategy or not by the Blue Jays, but interesting that they unleashed Sanchez to swing 3-0 there. Pop up. And then let's watch the whole at-bat versus Okamoto. Japanese brothers going at it. 87-4 sweeper, strike 1. It's amazing how as soon as he needs it, his stuff just comes right back. This is an 87-7, negative 18 sweeper. Devastating. 0-2. Sweeper again, 88. Ball 3, and then fastball 100 miles an hour. So when he knew he needed it, he could dial up 100. This is what makes him different. Like I said, he's now kind of learning how to pitch at multiple different gears. You know, he can ride his nice everyday bike around, and then he has to hit a hill, and he can gear for that. And when he wants to go flying, he can gear up for that. 100 miles an hour to Okamoto, even though this is down. You know, after 3 sliders. Nasty. Plus, out of this lane, the fastball away lane, everything would have been a ball if it was a sweeper. So there's a little hesitation to swing here. And he just blows him away. So, God, he's so freaking good. All right, next. Clement's going to get him out with a sweeper. Little chopper to Muncy. One out there. A lot of deep counts here. Here's Lucas. 97.5, cutting fastball, gets him on the ground. Ooh. Got a little error there by Freeland. He has such a weird fastball shape now. Not getting hardly any lift or real movement on it. Ooh, there's the slow curve on a hit and run. Freeland makes the play this time. Good job by Freddie to throw him behind him. And here's a strikeout on a split to Heineman. Ah, perfect pitch. So, has a runner in scoring position. Each of the first 2 innings punches way out of those. 3rd inning, back to the top of the order. 99-2, down and away. Also, I should mention, because of the way that his fastball is moving right now, where it's kind of, to the hitter, it's looking like it's going like this a little bit. Slight bit of drop relative to other fastballs, but also going away a little bit. This spot becomes even better because by the time the ball's entering the zone down and away, it's sort of like a dead fish, and guys are going to roll that over, especially right on right. So that's what happens here. It's sort of like a dead fish. He pulls off of it, roll over. So it's just everybody's fastball is going to play a little different, but right now, right on right, his down and away heater is going to get a lot of weak contact. Similar, it reminds me of Antonio Senzatela when he was a young guy. All right, there's a walk on a curveball to Varsho, and now we have an at-bat versus Vlad. Let's watch both pitches. So man on first, they're going to steal on this first pitch, or they're going to get there on the pass ball. So fastball, ball, sweeper. Gets it to the corner. Bad swing by Vlad, pops it up. 2 outs. And here's the run that they score. Let's watch the whole at-bat versus Sanchez. Remember, he swung at a 3-0 cutter, maybe fastball. Last time popped up. First pitch, slow curve ball. Sanchez always smiling. 100-mile-an-hour heater here. So this is the 3rd straight inning he's had a man in scoring position and 2 outs, and he's tried to level up his pitches. But this time he does it to a 2-0 count. Here's the 2-0. There's a take down the middle. And then another fastball. And just a poor location. Down, Sanchez slashes it the other way, and the Blue Jays get on the board with a double. I think he blows him up if he gets up and in here, but just overcooks this one down. And a base hit. All right, then he's going to get out of it on a 2-0 heater to Okamoto, sinker in. Not a pitch he's used a lot, but that's a great location, huh? How hard he hit that, 50? 41. Good pitch there. All right, on to the 4th. Will he have a quick inning this time? 0-2 to Ernie. Fastball away, weakly popped up. Freeland is there. 3-2 to Lucas. 3-2 sweeper. Pops him up. This time Freddie says, I'll catch this one. And yep, he is going to get his 1-2-3 inning. Here's Jimenez. So still throwing 100 miles an hour. Shohei will take that himself. Something was different about this delivery, guys. Oh, he did a little slowdown there, I think on purpose. Man, what a powerful delivery. I know that people like to criticize his delivery because of the 2 Tommy Johns, but I love the way it looks aesthetically. I think his hand might be a little late at times, but nasty. All right, 5th inning. 97-3, still bringing the heat to Heineman here. Pops him up. That's middle. Freeland is there. Back to the top of the order. Springer, sweeper. Backhand by Miggy Rowe. Makes that look easy. 2 outs there, and then a 1 pitch out from Varsho here on a split. Nice pitch. Gets the rollover. Freddie's there over to Show. End of the 5th. 6th inning, 2 pitch outs. So now he's being a little more efficient late in this game. Splitter to Vlad. Laser in the gap. Nice swing by Vlad. 108.7. What was the sequence here? 4-seam, then split. 4-seam take all the way, and then it's just a hanging split. And I think this is Vlad's ability to ride a ball out that paid off here. Man, just a good hitter. And I think he's still able to stay in see the ball, hit the ball mode, which is incredible. All right, Sanchez. Man on second, no outs. How you guys going to go about this? Ground ball, backside. Oh, good read by Miggy Rowe. Bad read by Vlad, and they get the lead out. So the rule of thumb, if you're the runner, is if the ball's hit on the second base side of you, you go to third. This ball's kind of hit right at Vlad. So he hesitates. He wants to go right off the bat, thinking that there's a hole over here and it's going to get through, but it's too close. Ultimately, it's a poor read. He gets kind of caught in no man's land. He realizes now he's doomed. If he stops, second baseman's coming in behind him. So he's got to go to third, and then just good awareness by Miguel Rojas to make the throw there. So good play on defense. But you go from a man on second, no outs, to 1 out and a man on first, and that's a big difference. All right, in play outs to Okamoto, sinker. So gets him out twice with sinkers. Struck him out with a 4-seam and blew him up twice with sinkers. Nice play there. And then an out to Ernie on a sweeper, gets some reach in. Miggy Rowe playing a heck of a shortstop in this game to finish the 6th. So 6 innings, the 1 run, it's not earned. He looked good. A lot of really good sweepers. Fastball, you see how it's playing. Interesting that he only had the 2 strikeouts, but a lot of that's the Blue Jays offense. They don't really strike out a lot. And I don't know. I think this is part of his plan, is to get a ton of innings. He knows that he's going to get a lot of love from the voters if he can just accumulate the innings to get into the conversation. All right, Cease is going to be next. Let me get in the chat for a sec, though. Roberts emphasized there needs to be patience with Ohtani, noting that as a two-way player, sometimes requires additional time between innings to get ready. Yeah, I saw there was some controversy yesterday with Springer saying, why is he getting more time? I actually agree with George. It's not our fault that you're a two-way player. You deserve special treatment. You don't. You don't actually. Get ready to pitch, and if you're not ready to pitch, that should benefit us. So I actually agree with George there. Who would you consider to be the GOAT? And if Shohei wins the Cy Young, is he undeniably the GOAT? I consider him the GOAT already. I just don't think anybody can match what he can do or has done. So I consider him the GOAT. I don't consider him the best hitter or the best pitcher. I think the best hitter all time is Barry Bonds. I think the best pitcher all time is Jacob deGrom. And I go off of like 4 or 5 year peak. For me, that's my methodology. But everybody's going to go about it differently. But I already have Ohtani as the GOAT. Ohtani would be a top 2 pitcher and hitter on any team. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's the man. He is the man. Can you watch Louis Varland bases loaded pitching from this game? Yeah, we'll check in on that after we do Cease next. I agree with Springer too. Get ready and get out there. I mean, you shouldn't get an extra benefit because you happen to be, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have to play, everything doesn't have to be by your rules. So that would annoy me. You know, if I'm agreeing with Springer, the Jays were complaining because Ohtani ended the lineup inning on second base and didn't immediately. Yeah, I agree with them. I don't give a crap. I don't care. Get out there. We don't need extra time granted. Yeah, no extra time. This is special. I don't like, he shouldn't have a special rule for this. I'm sorry. I disagree with people who think that he should get special treatment from here. Go out there and pitch. Everybody else has to do it. I've been going out there and I've done 3 warm-up pitches and they're telling me, hurry up, Ottavino, hurry up, Ottavino. And it's like, oh, well, I'm not ready to pitch. But they didn't give a crap about that, so we shouldn't have to give a crap about him either. So that's my personal opinion. All right, Dylan Cease on the other side. He's looked great in his first 2 games. He's implemented more sinker. He's implemented more changeup. He's implemented more knuckle curve. He's trying hard to get away from being 80% fastball and slider. So what did he end up yesterday on fastballs and sliders? 38% four seam, 15% sliders. So to my quick calculation, that's only 53%. So he's already doing way better and being less predictable, and I think this is going to help him a lot. I think he's going to create more called strikes when he needs it. Not going to have to outwhiff the other team every time, even though he has a ton of that already. And you can see yesterday, 41% whiff. Got 100% whiff on his changeup. He got 53% whiff on his dang four-seamer. So Dylan Cease looking like a definite contender this year for the Cy Young, and a great signing by the Jays. I know he wasn't my favorite pitcher, but I didn't know he could make all these changes this fast. And I'm impressed that he's doing it. 59% strikes. Didn't throw enough first pitch strikes, but that didn't hurt him. In the past, this would have crippled him in a game like yesterday because he would have been so predictable. He would have fallen behind, and then he would have only gone fastball and slider, and they would have pounced on him. But now he's got other options. So let's go ahead and watch a little bit of Cease in this game, and then yes, I will watch the Varland bases loaded pitching. All right, he's going to start off the game with a walk to special rule Shohei. All one. I mean, first guy on. And he's going to walk the second batter of the game, Tucker. So, again, like, you have no command, and on top of that, you're predictable. It's a recipe for disaster, but at least he's not predictable anymore. So walk to lead off the game, not good versus the Dodgers. Let's see how he works from there. It's going to be a strikeout of Will Smith on a slider. God, it's a hanger, but he gets away with it because the pitch is nasty. One out. Next out, Freddie on a slider. Right down the middle. And it's going to be a double play. So very fortunate first inning. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but very, very lucky, fortunate first inning for C. Second inning, in play outs to Max Muncy. That's a four-seam right down the middle, but it's got good lift on it, I'm sure. Yep, 20 inches, and it's 96, so that's what Stuff does. Gets him a little bit under it for the fly out. He also has the power of the mustache and the crazy homeless man hair. All right. Doors, Teoscar, up and away. And now he's starting to cook. Here's a 3-pitch strikeout to Pages. First pitch, sweeper. Check swing, yes he did. Second pitch, sinker. Check swing, yes he did. Third pitch, slider. So it's just devastating when you have a pitch like his slider, but you don't have to spam it, because then when you do throw it with 2 strikes, I mean, see you later. So that was a dominant second inning. Third inning here. Gonna get a strikeout on a changeup. Again, these are things that he didn't do before. The man is leveling up. This is a beautiful combio down and away location. 87 off of his usual 97. So he is nowhere near this pitch for the punchy. Next batter is Miggy Rowe. Gonna get him with a sweeper. Another pitch that he didn't throw hardly at all. So getting outs with pitches that didn't exist before. Pop up to center, and then there's a swinging strike to Shohei on four-seam fastball up. Doors. Let's watch this whole at-bat for Shohei, because I'm curious. First pitch, changeup, ball. Second pitch, sweeper, strike. Third pitch, changeup. I mean, who is this man? Just down. Now he goes to the slider, 2-1. Called strike. Now back to the bread and butter. So at least even when he falls behind in the count, he did so with not his A game. So then when he goes to the A game, it's less decayed. You know, they haven't seen it as much. Still gonna play. And this pitch is explosive right here. It looks like homeless Daniel Norris. Looks homeless, and Daniel Norris lived in a van. Daniel Norris did live in a van. That probably was a red flag a little bit for his future, but I don't know. People ate it up at the time. All right, fourth inning, Kyle Tucker. Beats him with that heater. Fly ball to left. Here's a hit. Will Smith on a sweeper. It's an infield hit, though. Here comes Oko. Can't make that play. And he'll throw it in the crapper, go to second. In play run. So here's the one run. Freddie, first pitch fastball ambush. No surprise there. Grounds it up the middle. Base hit. So an infield hit with a bad play by Okamoto, and then a Freddie Freeman first pitch fastball hit. These are all very normal things. Freddie's just a great hitter. Base hit up the middle. All right. Now he's going to get a punch out of Muncy on a fastball. Boom. Perfect up and away swing through. Nice pitch there. And then he's going to get the third out on a sinker to Teoscar. Now, he didn't throw any of these before. So this whole part of his game, right on right, where he's pounding guys in with sinkers, none of this existed. So, I mean, I'm loving it. I'm loving the evolution. All right, 6th inning, I think. 5th or 6th? 5th. Strikeout of Pages up top. Just impossible to hit that pitch. See you later. Next. Here's a hit from Freeland. Oh, almost not a hit, but it is a hit. Oh, nope. Okay, man on first, one out. Here's a strikeout of Miggy Rowe. Another heater up. Yep, see ya. And that heater up's just going to play better and better when you don't overexpose it. Here's a hit by pitch. Ooh, he hit Shohei. How dare you? Ooh, right in the toe. Get him a tow truck. All right, next. Kyle Tucker. He's gotten above the barrel 3 times. This time Kyle tried to flatten out, but just got jammed. Probably because of the 1.8. I talk about this with the perceived cut. A lot of these guys with these extreme fastballs over the top that have a little bit of cut, even if the guy tries to get on top of it, they misjudge where the barrel is. So he gets jammed. He jammed himself there a little bit. Kyle did a good job trying to flatten out to hit his fastball here, but he still misjudged it because of the horizontal play. So out there. And we are on to the 6th inning. And it's a leadoff walk. Very dangerous leadoff walk here. So he hadn't had a walk since the first 2 batters, but a leadoff walk here. First pitch again. Freddie Freeman swinging and hitting. Always got to watch out for Freddie on the first pitch. First and second, no outs. And another walk. So he kind of definitely had a tough 6th inning. Leadoff walk, which is a cardinal sin, gets ambushed for a hit, and then another walk. That chases him from the game. So it could have been a bad line. He was all set up for disaster here until the hero came in, Louis Varland. Let's watch all the pitches of Varland getting out of the bases loaded, no out situation. All right, here comes curveball, strike to Teoscar. Second pitch, 4-seam fastball. So it's going to be a sac fly, but everybody else is going to probably have to stay where they are, right? Let's see, did Freddie go anywhere on second here? And in this spot, bases loaded, no outs, keeping it to 1 run is kind of exactly what you're hoping to do. It's pretty unrealistic to get zeros. You're going to have to punch out that first batter. All right, second batter, we'll watch the whole thing. Pages. 98-1 ball. Against his right-handers. Living in a van. Oh, that's sweet. Barefoot grounding before the game. Hello, HR. That's me. Yeah, people thought I was a kook. I have science on my side.
Start an inning. 6th, 7th, 8th. Right down the middle. 2-2.
This is Varland's role. Big-time fireman vibes this year. Also, he's got the all-black cleats, which are kind of sick. Ooh, and then just dots him with a 4-seam there looking. And then the last batter he has to get through is Freeland. Curveball, strike. Changeup, 93-mile-an-hour changeup. Must be nice. Down. 99-mile-an-hour heater coming here. Fouled away. 99-mile-an-hour heater coming here. Trying to go up, I'm sure. Ooh, good swing to stay on that. I'd go higher than that. They're going to go curveball dirt, though, I bet. Yep, gets the little ground ball. Jimenez is there. Inning over it. Great job to hold it to 1. He's kind of the hero of the game in a lot of ways, as they do come back to win that. All right, but getting back to my Cease thoughts. I mean, it's just really been fun to watch him so far, guys. Really been fun to watch him. He's just less predictable. You don't know what he's going to throw now. He still has the same 2 elite pitches, but it shows you how having some pitches that you can go to, pitch to movement versus the proper batters in the proper sequences, in the proper locations, in the proper moments, how that can all make a big difference. You know, a couple of those sinkers into Okamoto, a couple of the at-bats where he started off with sweepers and changeups and then went to his best stuff later in the at-bat. That all makes a difference. You know, it all makes a difference. So to me, this is where he's leveling up. Let's see. I think it's raising his floor a lot, and let's see what the numbers are as we continue to go. But I'm telling you, and I'll die on this hill, if he threw 43% first pitch strikes in a game last season or 2 seasons or 3 seasons ago, odds are it wouldn't have gone as well because he would have been more predictable, and predictability equals loud contact in the big leagues. It just does, regardless of your shit. So that's my thoughts on Cease. All right, let me get into the chat for a minute. Could Louis Varland end up a closer? Absolutely. Could definitely be a closer. He's got closer shit, no doubt. But I just think their team functions better right now with him as fireman and Hoffman closing, although we'll see. Respectfully, don't agree on Shohei. Ohtani is incredible for the game of baseball, and an extra few seconds are what he needs. I think we can wait. I couldn't agree less with you, JT, on this one. To me, it's like you're just like everybody else. I don't care that you're the best player. You should be able to play under the same circumstances. Just because you have an ability to hit and pitch, why do we have to wait around for you? Nobody else gets any chance to wait around. Everybody has to play at this breakneck speed, of the pitch clock. I don't think that the rules should bend for you. They already bend enough with your team's roster. So I don't agree, but I'm not right about everything. Cease did leave a lot of middle pitches, but got saved by nasty stuff. That first inning, he got extremely lucky. I thought he pitched well after that, but then the 6th inning, he got bailed out by Varland. So this just shows you he didn't throw great fundamentals, like in terms of first pitch strikes, but I do think the mix helped him. He found a rhythm there in the middle. So he kind of showed the good and the bad of Dylan Cease, but the floor is now raised, I think, by the more diversity. So, whatever. No one has hit a barrel off Cease. That's a new thing too, because I've talked about the relationship between the 4 seams and the home runs, right? So in the past, you're being predictable. You're playing the game of, can I get over your barrel with the 4 seam? Sometimes you're going to get clipped for a barrel. So the fact that he has no barrels through 3 starts, again, the holy grail as a pitcher is weak contact plus strikeouts. It's not one or the other. It's both. If you can do both, that's the holy grail. Cease reminds me of Snell. I think, yeah, but like Snell also, when he implemented more changeup, that took him to another level. So again, it's at some level, it's about adding more to your mix on top of your nasty stuff. That's like saying there should be worse suspensions if you've been an all-star versus a league average player. All right, a lot of people are on my side, but that's okay. You don't have to be. Did I get some rest? Yeah, I got some rest. Rest schmest. All right, let's take a quick break in our programming to watch the #1 player in baseball right now, in college baseball right now, Mr. Roch Cholowsky, who's been raking, and I know people want to watch some of these outcomes, so I certainly do. I just want to watch some of his balls in play, see what we see about the swing, see how we're feeling about it. And I'm just going to do balls in play or extra base hits. No, what should I do? Let's do extra base hits. All extra base hits for Roch this season. So you get an idea of what it looks like. Terrible camera angle here, but here they are. Now for me, he's got a little bit of a Buster Posey in his swing, a little bit of a rhythmic stance, open, closes up. I would guess that in pro ball, his stance will become a little bit more efficient as time goes on. But you're going to see he hits an array of different pitches out to all parts of the park. Of course, he wants to pull a lot of balls, but he's got plenty of pop to center. He's very balanced at the plate. But I'm curious everybody's thoughts after seeing him, because this guy is pretty much a slam dunk to go 1-1 in this next draft. He has a dead center nuke right there. Versus a rival, USC. I think UCLA's on an absolute burner too. #1 team in the nation. I think they've won something crazy like 23 in a row. Also very good at doing like a Byron Buxton type of move where he keeps the back palm up so he hardly ever rolls over. Very good job of keeping his batted balls off the ground. Here's an Oppo line drive. So showing that he can do it to all fields. So that's a ground rule double. That ball's smoked. I just think it's a very, very balanced approach at the plate. Clearly, he's got enough size to do some major damage. I think he keeps his arms kind of tight to the body, so he's a little tougher to get you know, in on. That was cool. They had the Garrett Cole Cy Young next to the Trevor Bauer Cy Young on the wall there. There's a rollover double down the line. He has great hip separation with his upper and lower body. That's a lot of torque. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Just a very, like, loose, not tight. There's not a lot of muscle, no muscling up in the swing. And just kind of flows naturally. Oh my God, that's a tank. See you later. Really high fly ball there down the line. I don't know what the left fielder was doing, but that ball's long gone. I like their jerseys too. I don't know, who else, what other swing am I seeing a little bit? There's a little bit of a Chris Bryant in that setup, but the swing seems a little more adjustable. Not as straight uppercut the whole time.
Such a highly regarded prospect. Could be in the...
It's crazy to see UCLA playing teams like Ohio State. Ooh, Nick Swisher Field. Ball's way back. Just dismantles a 1-0 heater there. So there's been quite a few extra base hits, as you've seen. He's been crushing the ball lately. Here's a homer in Texas, off Mississippi State. Damn, second deck.
Of Chase Dolander and how dominant he was in Knoxville, and on Sunday against Virginia.
Rolls a changeup down the line here.
Will pitch for Tennessee. Third straight week the ball is going with that rotation. That's grounded
there. As his default grip.
We're going to get to a lot of these guys. Some of these pitchers that have kind of risen up the ranks. We're going to get to them, not today because I don't have any time, but we're gonna watch a lot of draft prospects too. Now that we have the video capability, we'll be watching all of the top guys. We'll get an idea of what we're looking at. Man, how many home runs does Roch have now in the year? Like double digits? Because this seems like to be a lot of bombs here. He looks like he's already a grown man too, which is like good and bad. Also, is the stance not getting more crouchy as time's gone on? I feel like he's getting lower and lower. I don't know if that's good or bad, but that ball's smoked. I guess with the ABS, his zone will still be big if he's tall, even if he's crouching. So that'll be interesting. Now he's been more upright again here. So definitely searching a little bit with his arms and legs as this season's going on. Old Roch Cholowsky. Oh, wow. Oppo on that? That's incredible. That pitch was up above the zone. Stays on it. Goes the other way. Yelling at the pitcher? There's that swing I was talking about where he kind of stays under the ball. Kind of rolls it over, top spins it over the infield. What a beast.
Roch stands in for the first time today.
Oh, hanging breaking ball. See you later. Hard to see this guy not succeeding at the next level. It's just he's got power to all fields. The swing, it looks very dialed, very consistent. Should probably get even more efficient as time goes on. I've watched him play a little bit of defense as well. Decent actions at short. So excited to watch this guy once he gets into the system. I'll see you later, ball. He's got a little bit of the Connor Griffin. I mean, he's got probably a little bit more movement in his swing than Connor does, but he ends up in a similar spot where he's kind of like a little bit of a scissor with the back foot, which is just pretty cool to see. I've seen people say he could go the Nolan Shanuel route, end up in the majors in his draft year. So like this year, I mean, it's possible. It's totally possible. You want to see him field some grounders? Let's see him field some grounders. Just a few, and then we'll move it on. Oh, he didn't get to that one. Why are they showing me that? I guess this is a play where he's involved at all. It's kind of weird.
2-2 to Miller.
Here we go. Come get it, Roch. Nice play there. To quote Mike Flanagan, you know you're having a bad day when the 5th inning rolls around and they drag the warning track. Totally. That means there's been people chasing balls against the warning track the whole time. Just trying to get an idea of what he looks like at short here with a couple grounders if we can. This is a tough play. Nobody's making that play. It's also weird how, like, when I was in college, everybody felt like a grown-ass man. But now when I watch them, they look like tiny little kids. And I know that's not the case. It's just perception. But it's kind of the way I feel. It's got a little bit of a Tulowitzki flip over there, which I like.
Here's the 2-2. And it's in on the hands. Tough play for Cholowsky.
All right, we'll end on that one. That was nice. So he can come make the play coming in. Can make the plays going back. And overall, he's a really fun guy to watch. All right, let's move on to the Rockies. They're the last thing we're going to watch before we do probables, because then I got to go to my workout. Yesterday, they pitched a very good game. Only allowed 1 run in 9 innings. Michael Lorenzen on the mound, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 100 pitches, bouncing back from a disastrous first outing at Coors. I know Christian Javier got hurt early in this game, which sucks, but I'm curious to see the pitch mix here out of Mike. 23% cutter, 20% changeup, 14% sinker, 14 curve, 12 four-seamer, 9 slider, 8 sweeper. If you're going to pitch good at Coors, you have to dominate the fundamentals, and he did. Almost 70% first pitch strikes. 24% whiff is not bad. So let's see here. Lorenzen versus the Astros. Jeremy Pena strikeout swinging on the curveball. So when I talked to him at Team Italy, he mentioned he was going to be doing a lot of different, moving on the rubber as well to create more angles. So let's see if we can spot that at all today. There's a pop-up of Jordan on a changeup. So given that you're usually not going to outstuff a lot of guys at Coors, it does really come down to the fundamentals and making pitch locations and definitely keeping guys on the ground more than they hit it in the air. But definitely can't be giving away too many free passes. Here's a leadoff walk in the 2nd inning. And here's a hit to Walker. Not surprised he's going to a heavy cutter mix, because that will give you a little bit more true movement with the gyro spin. But, I don't know. I think Mike's going to continue to try to figure out the puzzle as he goes. Sweeper here. Strikeout. Nice pitch there. Here's another strikeout. So back-to-back strikeouts with a 1st and 3rd situation. Huh. Really weird swing over a cutter, up, over, and away. And this is one of those weird things you're going to see at Coors sometimes. Just something that makes no sense. Can't even evaluate that. That was just a weird swing. 2 outs there. Here they score. Matthews into left. This time they get another hit, but they don't score. Oh, no. It says no out, but that was an out. Fly out there, unless there was catcher's interference. There was not, so that was just a misread. All right, 3rd inning. Nice play there. Jordan, cutter again. Oh, God. So scary to throw to Jordan down in the zone like that, but that worked out. He came off that, played like a changeup. Here's a hit for Altuve. City Connect unis dropping right now. What, do they release them all at once? Changeup, pop up. By Paredes. Here's a 1-pitch out to Walker. Keeping him on the ground, that's the biggest thing. If you can do it. Now the way to do it in Coors is not just spamming sinkers, though, because your stuff will definitely not be there. But, mixing it up, keeping the ball low, making them reach, get jamming guys. Those two actions right there are going to be really big
2-2 from Lorenzen.
So is this a triple ground ball? Triple ground ball inning. Very nice.
And Julian throws out local
Very
field.
nice. All right, 4th inning.
At least 6 pitches today.
Let's go.
Another ground ball.
Busy Kyle Karros.
And some of the best pitchers in Rockies history did this again. This was their style. Get enough ground balls. If you get ground balls, a lot of the Coors Field stuff doesn't come into play. So from a results standpoint, that's what you want to see. And Mike just did it right there. That's 5 straight ground ball outs. There's a ground ball hit. Sort of a line drive hit. Here's another hit to Jordan. Also on the ground, but again, not in the air, so it's not going to be extra bases. And then he gets out of this inning. Let's see if it's another ground ball to Altuve. Ooh, this time it's a pop-up. Comes off the cutter. It's crazy that that ball went to the almost to the warning track. 97 at 51, almost to the warning track. Insane. Sometimes those really hard sometimes those really high fly balls in Coors just don't come down. They just keep drifting. Pop up of Paredes there. He's gotten him to extremely pop up twice. Christian Walker. Ground ball hit. But again, at least it's not an extra base hit. Go get another ground ball. Get yourself a double play. This time he's going to get changeup. Nice pitch on the changeup there. Here's a hit. Loperfido. Ground ball hit. So, you know, he's getting quick outs at ground balls. Also, he's giving up some hits with ground balls, but none of them are extra base hits, and that has kept people off the board because you got to string a bunch of them together. Here's a walk. And they take him out. Who came in after him? Agnos. This is a big at-bat. Agnos gets a big out here. 3-2 to Vasquez. And it's a grounder. Nice job there. Very nice. Somebody asked me about Moniak. I know Moniak is a 1-1 pick. So he's always been an interesting guy to think about. But he has been a lot better since he got to the Rockies. I mean, last year he hit 306, 518, 824 OPS. This year he's off to a great start. He's over 1,000 OPS here in the early going. So we'll monitor Moniak a little bit. Looks like he just swings a lot, but that'll play fine at Coors when the balls don't move as much. Other than that, I mean, you can't go with that little walk forever. I don't know. The profile looks pretty good, though. Bat speed's pretty good for his size. So that's intriguing. I know 2 days ago was interesting is Senzatela pitched. And now he's in the bullpen. So they were able to run Freeland Senzatela the other day. But now Senza's in the bullpen. He's been a little bit of a different animal in the bullpen. We should check in on that for 2 seconds. Because now they have a little bit of a weapon out of the pen. I mean, averaging 97-1 with his four-seam is a different animal. And plus, he knows how to pitch a course. He's played there his whole life. He's got a little gyro breaking ball. The cutter works pretty well for him. He pitches down in the zone. He gets ground balls as well. So, interesting. Let's check in on Senza from 2 days ago versus the Astros as well. I'm curious to see. And then I got to probably get going before I'm late for my workout class. Antonio Senzatela, 96.6 four-seam. Ooh, and they moved him over on the rubber, I think, to create a little bit of a different angle, which I like. Here's the cutter. I think his four-seam will tunnel extremely well with the cutter as well. So that's a good possibility for him. And overall, I mean, I like the fact that you're giving him a chance to throw gas out of the bullpen. Talk about a weird fastball shape. Now, a lot of this is Coors. But look at that, 96.4, 5.7 horizontal and 7.8 vertical. Like, I mean, you just almost never see that type of shape. That's Coors for you, and he gets a called strike 3. Cutter fly out here, right in front of the old spot where I used to sit. Here's an out here on a cutter to Jordan. Gets him off the barrel just enough. Just happy to see him doing good. 98. Doors up top. Love it. I mean, he's been struggling the last few years as a starter, and now he might be reborn in the bullpen, which is great. There's a nice curveball. He does a good job getting his entire body over this curveball right here. That's nasty. That's so nasty. In play outs to Walker. There's the slider. So he's got 4-seam with a little cut, cutter with cut, slider with more slider, curveball of that. So it's like 4 pitches all kind of drifting the same direction at varying speeds and shapes. So I kind of like that. I'm going to gloss over Freeland a little bit because he also pitched in this game, but I don't have time. Here's a home run by Manaea off of Kaiwei Tang. Hopefully Moniak's found a home in Colorado. Oh, did that bounce off the top of the thing and go over? Boing? Boingy? Anyway, really good to see the Rockies playing well. Very happy about that. 6-6. What can I say? Pretty good start. Pretty good start. All right, let me get in the chat for a minute, and then I will go ahead and do probables for the time. Lorenzen looks ready for Mr. Olympia. He is shredded. He's ridiculous. Pitching purely to contact, would you not be at the whim of the BABIP gods? Yeah, you can't pitch purely to contact. You still got to get strikeouts. But in Coors, it's so important to have the balls that you do get in play to be either low BABIP, so we're talking harmless fly balls, which is a strategy, although there's a lot of ground to cover out there, so it's not my preferred strategy, but you can do it, or ground balls. Yes, ground balls are going to go through a lot. To your point, the BABIP gods will not work out for you, and you'll give up a lot of hits, but they won't be extra base hits. And if you limit your walks and your extra base hits, you usually limit your runs, and you're going to run into double plays, which at Coors are even more important. So it takes a lot of the issue away. You just can't give up line drives or anything with a medium launch angle. You need extreme launch angles, right in the ground or popped up way high in the air. Those are the 2 things you're looking for in addition to strikeouts. So it looks like Lorenzen's leaning into the ground ball part of it. And look, you look at a lot of the best seasons in Rockies history from starting pitchers. A lot of them are ground ball pitchers. Elise Chassin, Aaron Cook, Jeff Francis, Ubaldo Jimenez, Chad Bettis, Kyle Freeland. Now, some have been fly ball pitchers. Tyler Anderson, a couple others are out there that have done it. But for the most part, Herman Marquez, I would say. But for the most part, it is ground ball guys because it limits your extra base hits. And extra base hits are easier to come by at Coors, but they really lead to runs. Extra base hits really lead to runs. So if you're the Rocks GM, what kind of pitchers are pursuing? What are their pitch mixes and metrics? I think that's not an easy answer. I think in the bullpen, you're looking for full diversity. You're looking for every type of look, and I think deception needs to be your main goal out of the bullpen because deception will play at Coors. When you can't outstuff everybody, you have to have better pitching, like thinking and sequencing and strategies, but you also have to have better deception because that stuff will play at Coors. So deception. From a starting standpoint, I need somebody who can control their contact, doesn't walk people, and also knows how to get looking strikeouts. Those are my 3 main things. Obviously, swing and miss is a little harder to come by, but if I did have to pick one pitch type that I want to be special, it's something with some gyro on it because that's less affected by the thin air. So if you have a death ball, Herman Marquez death ball, curveball, knuckle curve, or John Gray slider, those are the pitch types I'm hunting as secondaries. But as for fastballs, there's really no answer for that. You want to have a diverse mix so that you can stay off the barrel. Senzatela feels like he's been there for 20 years. Yes, that's true. Ao is making a comeback after calling it a workout. It's not a baseball workout. I'm just going to work on my core and my hips at this workout class that will be all female. But whatever. It feels good, so I'll do it. 1-seam grip wouldn't work at Coors. I mean, it could, but again, you're going to get less drop on your ball because the seam effects aren't the same. When the seams grip the air, there's not as much air to grip. So a lot of it is about creating a steep angle. That's why I think if you're going to be a Coors Field ground ball pitcher, it's about vertical approach angles. So it's more about a high release downhill plane type approach that could play to get them to hit the top of the ball. So it's less about, to me, it's less about ball flight metrics. It's more about creating outlier angles, horizontal approach angle, vertical approach angle in both ways. Those are things that you can lean into in Coors. All right, here we go. Deception plays everywhere, exactly. Sandy Alcantara would play at Coors. Yes, he would. He would be great at Coors. His ERA would naturally be higher, but he'd win a ton of games at Coors. He would. I think so. Rethinking my Ohtani opinion, not even my girlfriend agrees he should get time. Well, your girlfriend is on our side. All right. How much does altitude really reduce how heavy a sinker feels? I would say 20% reduction. Everything is a 20% reduction at Coors in terms of movement. So you get about 80% of your movement, but 80% is not 100%, so it's tough. Ground balls. The infield is the same size. The outfield is Ponderosa. It is. It's true. Would love to see you build a bullpen. Would mesh with what I love. Tons of different arm slots. Yeah. So anyway, lean into the angles. See if you can't do that. All right, let's do probables. And then that's it for today. Kind of a short show, but I have to run to my workout. All right, here's what we got on the docket today. First game's coming up hot. Rhett Lauder, Max Meyer, two young studs. Meyer looked good in his outing versus the Yankees last time. It all comes down to sliders and whether the team chases him or not. Rhett Lauder's also been very hot to start off the year for the Reds, and the Reds are playing good ball. A's, Yankees, Springs, and Weathers. Weathers looking to make it out of the fourth inning and kind of deliver on some of the promise that he's shown coming into the season. It's been a little clunky. Let's see how he looks today. Tigers, Twins, Jack Flaherty, Mick Abel in a classic AL Central matchup. Ooh, repeat of the WBC final, Erod and Nolan McLean Day. So we'll be watching that tomorrow on the live stream, which will be at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We'll definitely be watching that, and we'll see how Erod looks against the Mets. White Sox, Royals, Anthony Kay, Seth Lugo. Two former Mets going at it. Rockies, Padres, TBA, and Randy Vasquez. That is it. That is all the games today. Pretty light day. Pretty light day of games, but that means we'll really be able to lock in tomorrow, maybe on some more draft prospects and anything that pops from these games. And certainly we'll watch every pitch of this guy because we know my Mets fans need it, and I need it too, Nolan McLean. Other than that, he's probably Weathers too I want to lock in on. Those are the two I'm the most excited about. And maybe we'll also lock in on this beauty right here, Mr. Rhett Lauder. All right. Thanks for hanging with me today on a little bit of a shorter show. I know it's almost 2 hours, but I got to get rocking and rolling. Great to see everybody in the chat today. I will put up the timestamps when I get out of my workout. If you want to revisit, that's usually the easiest way in the description. Caps are up on the shop if you're interested. And I will see you guys tomorrow on Friday. All right. Have a great day and enjoy the baseball that is on. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.